In this video, I'm going to show you how to confidently select your playing level for the coming season. To register for the new season, it's going to be step by step. The video is about 12 minutes in length, and then give yourself about 10 minutes as there is a worksheet to complete that should help you to be able to select your playing level and be very confident that that's the way you want to go. Hello, and I'm Kelly Bombach from the Game Organizer. You likely made your way here because you received a survey from your group requesting that you submit a playing level to help the organizer set the season fees for the coming season. And so the intention of this video is if you've our first time at doing your playing level, or if you've struggled in past years to make your final decision early, then this video is going to help you out, and I've designed a nice little worksheet that's going to make it hopefully even easier to make one that's very comfortable for you. So this is a three-step process, and let's get started. And here are the three steps we're going to cover today. First being, why do I need to accurately respond to this survey? Before I made this video, I would send out a survey to the teams and groups, and I'd say, hey, let me know what your playing level will be for the coming season. And oftentimes it ended up being something completely different once registration day came. So the intention of step one is to be super confident and comfortable with the selection that you're submitting to the survey, so that the organizer can make a really good fees schedule. So of course, then the easy part is choosing your playing level. That takes about as much time as it might to consider step one, and then very quickly step three is to respond to the survey. So let's get started. So in step one, there's going to be a fair amount of technical information to digest, but really that's not what the intention of this video is about. It's not to understand everything. It's just to get a good overview of why we're asking you for an accurate playing level at this early part of the season, and for you to get a good initiation to how this software works. And of course, I'm always going to be preaching longevity with this program, and one of the big parts of longevity is that you have successors who will stand up and organize. And the software also facilitates the ability to organize just a portion of the group's activities, and we'll take a look at that in another video. So the title of slide A, is that the 4 playing levels that we're asking you to choose from promotes longevity. And I just explained that a little bit. It's about keeping the organizer, or the software helps the organizers group together and help each other out, but also the players. And traditionally teams have had full-time players, and then they've had spares. And so ideally, there's enough full-time players that cover all of the players that are available. If you have 20 players maximum on a field or on a rink, you get 20 full-time guys. But then if not, then you've got to factor in spares. And so it gets a little bit dicey, even with 2-player system, as to what the average attendance is going to be throughout the year, and what your expected amount of spare placement can be. So it's not straightforward, is my point. And then on top of that, for full-time players, average, they only play 75% of the season. Now, that means some of the players play 100% of the time, and some play 50% of the time, but on average 75%. So you can see that some percentage of the group is going to pay twice as much as some percentage of those that are playing 100% of the time. And so this is what we want to do. We want to keep players happy. We want to make sure that players don't quit because they don't feel like they're getting good value for their money. And of course, if they're paying twice as much, that could be a possibility. We do want to hold on to players. We want to keep spares happy, and we want to keep organizers happy, and that's what promotes longevity. So a super quick math class here. Let's just do an example of how kind of an ideal situation, like a super easy 2 playing level set fee scenario could be. So first of all, we look at the season expenses, $5,000. Okay, there's 25 games in the season. Okay, so 25 into 5,000, that's $200 a game you need to raise to pay for the facility fees. Let's say it's a rink, because those are a lot more expensive than other things. The maximum players on the field could be 20 players divided by 200, so that's $10 each. Pretty simple math there. And if we had season players playing the full season, so there's a maximum of 20 full season players because we are basically the lure is guaranteed games. We divide that by 5,000. So the season players pay $250 for the whole season. Spares pay $10 to sub in. Pretty easy. And if you're absolutely certain as an organizer that you can fill each and every game, this math works out perfectly. You'll have exactly $5,000 at the end of the season. Like I said, the problem is not knowing how many players are going to actually register, how many spares you can actually attract, how many new recruits you're going to actually be able to get during the season to fill those games, or to fill them as best as possible. And if not as best as possible, how much are we going to fill on an average? So once the organizer has the survey results and he starts plugging them into the wizard like this, he's able to, or he's or she is able to ascertain, just how many recruits and casuals and spares we need to fill out the rest of the game, full time versus. And in the case of 4 playing levels, then of course it's even a little bit more math involved because some are playing 50% and some are playing 75%. So that's pretty straightforward there. Plug it in. Now the beauty of software is that all that math is done for you. So just the organizer plugging in those numbers, putting in statistical information from past years, how many casual players signed up for games, how many recruits were signed up, how sticky were they, how many games did they play. Put all that information in and out comes a chart here. And you can see the chart, primarily it's the top line and the bottom line take focus on. If there's 15 players are the maximum allowed on the ice at a time, the chart goes back 1 player at a time, and it helps the, so if the organizer figures, okay, my average is going to be 12 players per game, okay. So at the bottom, the profit and loss here is this figure. Now you can see that this figure it's a good little profit. So in this case, the organizer might choose to reduce the fees, and this is where they go to reduce the fees and play with this chart a little bit. So again, we're back to the main goal of the organizer is to ascertain the average attendance. Those are in this chart that's created by TGO. TGO allows the organizer to modify these. So there's a one column that says mathematically what TGO is suggesting, but the manager can change the numbers in terms of the registration fees, in terms of the new recruit pay per game fee, the roster play pay per game fee. All of these things can be manipulated. It affects that previous chart we looked at, and then finally you'll end up with a number where the organizer's confident that we can make that goal, that attendance goal, and get the a break even at very least at the season's end. Okay, so we've done the overview, the background information as to how fees are set and why we're asking for a survey up front. It's just to make the fees project a little bit better so that we're quite assured that we have enough money in the bank account to pay for the expenses as we go along the way. If you want to, after having responded to the survey, if you want to come back and go through this slower, and then you can look at each slide one at a time. Next, we're going to get into what we came here to do, which is to choose your playing level. And that's really doesn't take much time at all. Let's just take a look how we're going to do that. So here's the questionnaire that we're after. I've created this with 3 components to it to help you make up your mind. One thing you have to consider is what's your availability? What's the attendance? How many games do you think you'll be able to play in the season? What fits your budget? Are you a pay per game person, or are you an installment payment person? And your invitation preferences. Do you want to go? Can you tolerate going on standby? You know, the less you play, the higher your opportunity is of having to go on standby. So very quickly here, attendance 75, 50, 25. We talked about this before. The number of games is going to be similar to what it was last year. Your organizer probably doesn't have contracts in hand at this particular moment yet. Games available, basically take a percentage of this and put it here and go and make your little math. And if that sounds right, that quantity of games in the season, then you've kind of nailed the attendance. And then financial, like I alluded to earlier, it's pay per game or season budget. I mean, what you can look at it as a number of ways: your monthly cost, your season cost, or is it just more comfortable to pay as you go? All of those things are available within each of the playing levels. So answer these questions up and use last year's fees, which are in the group overview of my groups when you log in, if you can't remember what they were last year. And then finally, like I said, invitation preferences. How easy do you want this, right? Do you want it only when spots are open, or do you want to be invited to all games? Do you want to be of potential to be a core player, which gets the guaranteed plays? And so, yeah, freeze your screen right now, put it on pause, and get this done. This is the most important part of the video. Give it a good think so you can come up with something that's super comfortable for you. So this is kind of a summary chart. I mean, you won't be able to see this until you actually register. And so if you're a brand new team signing up, you've probably never seen this before, but this is the chart that we use to just select, and it summarizes each of the playing levels. So here's playing level 1, 2, 3, and 6, and here's all of the terms that are involved in that. So your inviting frequency, your standby, your credits, all of these things, and we considered each one of these topics during the questionnaire. So hopefully you'll be able to look at this and go, yeah, I chose in the questionnaire level 2, and this all just makes total sense to me. I'm super comfortable with this playing level. So this is something that you'll be doing your final registration with once the organizer has set the fees. Okay, so I hope that was super easy for you. Did the questionnaire help you to prompt the brain and kind of do some forward thinking and find out what your playing level is going to be? And of course, the intention is that the survey result matches your actual registration result, which will be in about 2 weeks, generally speaking, before the organizer is ready to take that next step with you guys. So I'll just quickly look at the survey that's going to be in the hands of the organizer, and I'll set you on your way. So when all of you respond to the survey, the survey results show up in the software under your name, first name, last name, and this is the communications center that manages all of the invitations and all of the finances for your season. Here's the level. Once all the players have responded, then the organizer is able to get to work and do that step 1 part where we figure out the season fees that'll break a season nice and comfortably and make sure that there's enough money in the bank for all of the expenses coming up. And that, my friends, is a wrap. That is what we meant to do today. Thank you for responding to the survey, and the manager is going to get on that season's fee for you right away, and you'll be getting out some invitations. Enjoy your season. This is the Bomber, and I'm signing off. Have yourself a great season. Take care.